Welcome to our EC Advanced Open lesson here at実践女子学園. I'm sorry that we didn't have the opportunity to meet one another in the classroom, but this lesson will hopefully give you a feeling of what our classes are like. Let's try our best and explore today's topic. Let's do it. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words because every picture tells a story, and it is often easier to show something in a picture than to describe it with words. So today's lesson is going to be about living photographs. Photographs play an important role in everyone's life. They connect us to our past. They remind us of people, places, feelings, and stories. They can help us to know who we are, where we came from, and how far we come. Now let's take a look at this picture. What do you see? If you look at the bottom left-hand corner, do you recognize anything? When do you think this photo was taken? Where do you think this is? Well, if you said Shibuya in the 1950s, you were exactly right. Great job. Now, if we look at Shibuya today, we can see that it has completely changed from the 1950s. Everything in this picture is different. It definitely tells its own story. A living photograph. So sometimes a photograph goes beyond just a picture of a landscape or an object. Sometimes it tells more of a story of people coming together for a common cause. Let's take a look at the picture on the next slide and see what you notice. So right away, we can see this is something different. And if we zoom in even closer, it says Human Statue of Liberty, 18,000 officers and men at Camp Dodge. Now look at the base, look at the feet of Lady Liberty. What do you see? And in the middle, that's a lot of people there, huh? Now, this Human Statue of Liberty, what is the story behind this photo? Why did they make this photo? And how was this photo made? Let's find out.
One of the more interesting pastimes is the idea of the living photo. If you have a photograph of a person, or even in some cases of a scene, and you can put 1,000 people in one place at the same time, you try to reproduce the photograph based on the presence of those people.
Arthur Mole was known for doing these unusual photographs. He would get large groups of people together and he would put different shirts and stuff on them, and he shot in black and white, so he had to have different shades of gray in order to do this.
A classic example of that takes place at Camp Sherman during World War I, because there's a lot of people down at Camp Sherman, where they form a picture of Woodrow Wilson, the president.
He had a 75-foot tower that he would be up there with his camera, and then he would use a megaphone to shout instructions to his choreographer. They would work for a couple of days using chalk to lay out the figure and what colors would go where. And then they got the boys to come out and they'd put them in t-shirts if it was necessary. It took 21,000 men and officers to make up that picture. The group up above Wilson's part in his hair, there were over 8,000 men just doing the top of his head. It was quite a complicated affair, but it turned out rather well, and President Wilson autographed the photo when it was done.
Well, I think some of you have experienced this living photograph at your elementary school, where you went out onto the ground and then made that pattern that you were practicing for weeks, waited for an airplane to come over to take your picture. Do you remember that experience? Did you have that experience? Well, I hope you did, because it was definitely a lot of fun. So we get to the part of the reason why I was teaching you about living photographs. I would like you to think, if you had to design a living photograph, what would you make? I would like you to think of an example of a message you might want to send using this same technique. I would want you to think about what image you would want to make to send that message. and I would like you to think about who would participate. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for now. If you would like to continue this lesson, please go to the URL above. Until then, have a great day.